Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to Footy Judge Mo, people. No intro, nothing today. No monologue from Mo. It's just Crumble Day by Arsenal Liverpool. They handed Manchester City the four-peat. They might have handed them the treble. If you are here, like the video first. If you are here, like the video live. We need to get to 300, 400 likes live. And if you're watching this in the replay, hit that like button. Over 100 people right off the bat. So listen. The sharks are coming for everybody. It's just coming for me here at home. It's coming for the Italian league. It's just they're coming for everyone, for everyone. At the end, it's just a world we live in, and Man City win at the end. You remember the German wins at the end in the World Cup back in the days. It's just you play football, and at the end, Pep Guardiola, Sheikh Mansour, Manchester City win. It's as simple as that. Arsenal let everyone down. Liverpool, the players let Klopp down. But listen, no intro, nothing. I just want to get the first feeling from Rory, who was in the stadium yesterday. The first question, did you guys like in the stadium thought it's done, it's over?
Yeah. I think.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
To be honest, I was very disappointed with how empty the stadium was during injury time. A lot of people had given up, and I think some people have said it's because of last year, because it just feels like last year again. I don't think we're at that point yet, but it just felt like the thing was we were all bouncing in the stadium before kickoff because we all watched Liverpool lose, and so it was like to have that excitement and then followed up by just such a well, not even a poor performance. The first half, I thought we were good. And then the second half, it was like, there was just no reason for it. I think that was the most annoying thing. There was no reason to come out and play the way we did in the second half. Villa didn't even change anything. And so it really felt like we gave them the win. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people overreacted straight away, including myself. And then it's like, slowly we'll get back on board. We've got Wednesday night. If we lose on Wednesday night, then it's just going to be hell. But
hold on, you are kind of expected to lose on Wednesday night.
We are.
Like you aren't going to that game favor, especially like Bayern Munich didn't care about the league anymore. It's just It's a very to be honest, strange day yesterday. Like I didn't expect both teams to lose, to be honest. Especially to be honest, I didn't expect Liverpool to lose. And then when Arsenal played Villa, I kind of saw maybe a draw or something. But the way to be honest, the way he made the substitutions, Arteta, and the way the stadium, the people left, and the way the players and that what Rice said after the game, it's as the guy just went to West Ham mode. We should defend the draw, and I'm like,
I think that's been taken a little bit out of context.
That's what I read, to be honest.
No, so he said that if you're not going to take all 3 points, you have to take a point. If you're not going to win, you can't lose. You have to take a point. I don't think that's him saying we should have settled for a draw. I think it's him saying, we shouldn't have conceded. Like, we still go for the win, but you make sure you don't lose. I think that's more what he was trying to say. Obviously, I know people have immediately gone into, saying that Rice has gone back to West Ham mode, but I don't think that's what he meant, personally.
But anybody else saw it coming after Liverpool? Tom, did you see Arsenal dropping points at all?
Yes, because it's very much the City fucking luck that on the same day both title rivals would drop points. I've seen it happen too many times. And Aston Villa was always. I don't know why people suddenly started to write off Villa in recent weeks. Villa are made for these games against the sides like this. When sides that they play like this don't take their chances, that's when Villa stay in their games. People must have just started writing them off after City. But that was literally the Phil Foden show. Sometimes you can't do anything against that when someone gets a hat-trick and 2 of the 3 were rockets. Ultimately, there's not a lot there. Villa are always a side that are going to play at that. Emery gets off on these sort of games where he can just make little tactical adjustments and control games like that. I mean, I'll say it like this. I've never seen this season Arsenal get played. I'm not gonna say played off the park. But I'm gonna say dominated in the way they were in the second half. In the sense that Villa at no point looked under pressure. Villa at no point were riding the luck in that second half. In the first half, they were. There was a couple of really good saves from Martinez, a couple of chances that went wide for Arsenal. But in that second half, it was like Sutton switched, and all of a sudden, Villa had complete control of that game. And it was just a matter of when, not if, for them. And it worked to a T for them. I mean, with Arsenal, I think not it all comes down, but a large part of the mentality for the rest of the season will come down to Wednesday. If they can get over the line in Munich, all of a sudden this loss means very little because the bounce back is there. You've just knocked out Bayern Munich at their ground in the Champions League. You're onto a Champions League semi-final. All of a sudden, a loss to Villa is seemingly forgotten about. But if they lose, I don't know the damage that's going to have. Because I can only speak from my personal experience. We were in a very similar spot, and then we beat Bayern, and all of a sudden it was just, well, we've got Champions League. It's fine. We'll go for it then. And you go on and you ride that through for the rest of the season. It must be very disappointing for them yesterday because of the chance they missed in that first half. I mean, I think Arteta got it massively wrong yesterday. I don't know why all of a sudden he switched back from Havertz up top to Jesus. Jesus off the bench is probably your best bet. I don't think Jesus is a good striker. I've said that for years.
He's not a striker, full stop.
Yeah, he's a winger. There's a reason why he was the backup striker for a team that didn't have a striker. Pep didn't want to use him up front. He used KDB up front. Havertz just fits that Arsenal attack more. Another one, I know that you've had this, I'm sure you've had this debate with Arsenal fans this week. Trossard, probably better off the bench at the minute. When he starts games, I don't think he has the same impact because he's not up against the tired legs. He's not up against a defence that's making the same mistakes. Trossard capitalises off mistakes. When he starts games, their mistakes aren't being created as much. Martinelli needs it for that. So, I think that Arteta has to take a fair amount of blame. I know he said he took Odegaard off because he got injured. I was going to say that would have been the most horrendous thing if he wasn't injured, and that was a tactical change because Odegaard was the best player on that pitch yesterday for both sides. But yeah, I think Arteta's got to have a look at himself now and figure out why he made them changes, why he thought that was the correct move.
That's the thing.
The line of
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the players he brought in are good enough to win that game, in my opinion. The issue was changing it back to having Havertz in midfield and Jesus through the middle. Even though Havertz in the first half was making good runs from the midfield and got in behind a few times, I still just think, why you would change a system that's worked so well for us in 2024. I don't really get it.
No, but it worked. No, but it worked. I actually
it did in the first half.
In my opinion, everyone is wrong. In my opinion, everyone, all the pundits, everyone is wrong. It worked. His plan worked. Havertz got 3 1-on-1s. Jesus literally created 2 chances. Yes, he didn't score the header. He created the clear-cut chance to Trossard. Clear cut.
But do you know one of the biggest differences for me in the second half and why we struggled in the second half?
But before we go to the second half, Rory, I'm sorry. It worked. He did worked.
Yes.
What Arteta did in the first half on paper worked.
I don't agree it works off the ball. I disagree with that. Rice was left too isolated.
Who?
Needed
Who?
Jorginho to help. Rice. He was left too isolated. He needed some
Villa
support.
had nothing.
If we're going to give Arsenal the credit for the chance that they had,
first half at least once.
yeah, Ollie Watkins hit the inside of the post and it went out.
Guys, that was a mistake by Gabriel hitting the ball in the back of Zinchenko. Because what are we talking about here? That was literally.
But then, Mo, I could say that every single Arsenal attack was a Villa mistake.
Okay, let me tell you why not. Okay, Villa are team number 1 in the world in catching other teams offside, right? Number 1.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? He makes Havertz make late runs from the halfway line to beat the offside trap 3 times. He did it. That's not Villa's mistake. That's Arteta, right? Playing to the faults and the high line of Aston Villa. It's exactly that. But Gabriel hit in the back of Zinchenko because of a brain fart. It doesn't mean that Villa created. In the first half, Arsenal created 5 clear-cut chances. Bukayo Saka on the right side, and people said Bukayo Saka played well, right? Odegaard put Bukayo Saka on the right side 3 times behind Luka Dean. 3 times. And Bukayo Saka, what does he do? He stops and tries to dribble again instead of playing across the 18. He doesn't. I actually didn't think Bukayo Saka played well yesterday at all. The movement was good. Decision making was as bad as Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka yesterday. So for people that say that he got it wrong, yes, he changed it, but they created enough clear-cut chances and they didn't concede. I can't remember Arsenal conceding a chance because they were too exposed. I didn't think it was a mistake by someone hitting the back of his teammate. That's the chance.
But so for me, Mo, the issue is you're right about the first half. We could easily have gone into halftime leading.
Second half,
and therefore,
I want to know what he said in the dressing room. How did the team come out like this? Yes,
but also, you're assuming that we couldn't equally have done that in the first half, but with Havertz. You know, we could have still had Havertz up top. We could have had Smith Rowe in the midfield making the same runs Havertz made. We could still have had those chances. But then the second half, and this was where we had an issue, was Villa were getting out regularly by playing it long to Zaniolo, who was winning physical aerial battles with Ben White, which was a problem, and Ben White should be winning them. But that was how Villa were getting out. We couldn't get out because Havertz wasn't playing anywhere near as far forward, so we couldn't go long to Havertz, which has been a lot of this season how we've got out of those situations. So for me, you've got to look at the whole game, not just the first half. And across the whole game, I thought he got it wrong. It's not just on Arteta. It's on the finishing. It's on the decision-making of players, multiple players, including Trossard, who for me was his miss was the most criminal of all of them. And then it's also, I thought Zinchenko didn't help throughout the game with his defensive frailty.
When was the last game Zinchenko did help?
Well, that's the issue.
I can't believe that he still gets start. I know Kivior isn't great, but I would sooner trust Kivior than Zinchenko at the minute. Zinchenko's no longer giving you that. Or Tomiyasu or anyone who could do a job at left back over Zinchenko. Defensively speaking, he is so much of a liability. It does not make up for what is, at this point, pretty bang average and arguably slightly unneeded attacking quality. Because I feel that he ends up getting in the way of the left centre mid now. And when you've got, I assume Arteta wants, in his ideal world, a midfield three of Partey or Jorginho, Rice and Odegaard. You don't want Zinchenko getting in that spot where Rice is supposed to be. I saw yesterday, I thought Rice, the moment he brought Jorginho on, Rice looked a little bit lost. And Arteta was shouting at him going, you need to get up. But there was too many overloads in certain areas, so he couldn't do that because he didn't want to leave them defensively exposed. And the time that he did do it, you got really hit on the counter-attack. I think that certain parts of that side of the game, there can be question marks. Ultimately, at the end of the day, first half finishing let you down. On another day, you're going in 3-0 up and you're going cruising. Statement performance against a good Aston Villa side. Job done. But the way I'm going to use the term capitulation, is probably slightly harsh, but yeah, the way you capitulated in that second half was alarming to say the least. Like you said, Zaniolo on Ben White, it looked easy for Zaniolo. He looked like he was having the time of his life. On the right-hand side, Diaby, and then Bailey just had Zinchenko any way he wanted them. And Watkins, his runs were just causing... It's his channel runs, and I wouldn't say they were causing Saliba problems or Gabriel problems in that way. But just because he was running there, and Ben White was occupying Zaniolo, and Bailey was occupying Zinchenko, it meant the centre-back had to dragged out more, which left the space for the Morgan Rogers, who I thought had a very good game yesterday, Morgan Rogers, and the Yuri Tielemans and the John McGinns, who also had a very good game yesterday, John McGinn, of this world to step into that space and drag Arsenal. It was very well organised from Emery. And ultimately, he got what he deserved that second half. You see, they were quite unlucky with the woodwork hits. I thought Tielemans, he was so unlucky with that effort that hit the bar and then the post. Some effort that, but like we've been saying, it was just constant counter-attacks and constant... Villa did not look worried in that second half. And ultimately, for Arsenal, it must just be embarrassing that Diego Carlos before the game in December said we're not worried about Arsenal, and then got man of the match in both games against them this season.
I think that I would probably disagree with what Rory said about Aston Villa didn't change anything. For me, they did. And this is where I also come to disagree with Mo, because the first half, I agree that on the ball, it wasn't an issue. Like Arsenal were creating chances. Aston Villa set up quite defensively in that first half. Second half, it was more of a mid block rather than a low one. So Aston Villa actually pushed out a little bit more, and that's also reflected in the stats. Like I think they had more possession in the second half to Arsenal compared to the first. Yeah. And I think a lot of that stemmed from like Emery identifying that, well, the midfield isn't as solid for Arsenal as it has been in like recent weeks. And for me, that stems from the fact that Havertz played in midfield. I'm not talking about on the ball. On the ball, it's not an issue where Havertz plays. That's fine. A lovely player. Off the ball, he's not a midfielder. It's not his fault. It's like when Alvarez has played in midfield for Man City against Chelsea in the double pivot. You can't do it. It's not his fault he gets exposed, but he does get exposed. Same thing with Havertz. I think Aston Villa identified that. And the amount of times, particularly in the second half, that Villa exploited those spaces and gaps in the midfield, because again, it's not Havertz's fault, but he doesn't quite know what he's doing in that position off the ball. So I think Aston Villa saw that weakness and went, right, guys, we actually might be able to take the game to Arsenal a little bit, not properly go for it, but we can certainly go from our low block to more of a medium block. And we saw it constantly over and over and over again. Like Arsenal just not looking comfortable. And I've seen Arsenal out of possession this season, like, against City, the Etihad, one of the most impressive out of possession performances I've ever seen at the Etihad. It looks so stable and secure. And it was the exact opposite at home to Villa. And again, I was asking the question, why isn't Jorginho starting? Why isn't Kiwi or starting? Why have you got Havertz at striker to be an outlet and maybe pop Jesus out wide? It was, in my opinion, a mistake from Arteta. I'm not saying it's all his fault. The players at the end of the day, should they've still got a win? Sure. But at the end of the day, this is Unai Emery, one of the best managers in the Premier League. Aston Villa, they've demonstrated against City and Arsenal, obviously, that they are a very good team. It's a must win against a very strong opponent. I don't quite get the thought process there from Arteta personally.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's all his fault, but
I think as well. I want to pick up John McGinn as well. And I know I'm big up John McGinn because he gets underrated a lot in circles. John McGinn,
he was man of the match against City. Yeah.
John McGinn does such an important job. He does such a good job for that City team.
Yeah, he's annoying. I get it.
He's
very good
easily
player.
top 5 players I despise the most in the world.
Really? He's a very good player.
Yeah, I can't stand him.
He does such a job for that Villa team, because I think something that people are forgetting now is Villa were without the 2 first choice centre mids yesterday, in Kamara and Douglas Luiz. So that was Tielemans, who I don't think Unai Emery quite likes as a centre mid because he's not quick or not mobile, should we say, in that sense. And John McGinn, who's traditionally tries to play out wider in games this season because he's a bit more of a harrier and a bit more of a physical threat. McGinn went into that central midfield spot, was the best midfielder yesterday, bar Odegaard. But McGinn held it for 90 minutes. And when you're looking at the problems that were caused through Arsenal, McGinn was the source of it. Havertz out of possession is a problem. So McGinn just ran. McGinn would just pick up the ball and run past him. And all of a sudden, Declan Rice is getting dragged out of position. I thought Declan Rice looked very exposed yesterday. Probably one of his worst performances of the season so far, because he was having to cover so much ground and practically be a one-man show at times, because McGinn and Morgan Rogers were all over him. When one wasn't there, the other one was. And the thing about McGinn is quality of pass, his quality of delivery, very underrated. Very, very underrated. He's a top player, him. And I think if Villa achieve what they achieved this year, get top 4, he'll be a key part to that, because he's the name that they won't talk about. They'll talk about the Watkins of this world, the Baileys, the Douglas Luizes. McGinn is the glue that holds that together. He deserves all the credit in the world, McGinn.
And in this game, guys, it's about 300 people here, guys. We aren't even on 100 likes. Can we get to at least 200 likes, guys? It helps the video massively, massively. Hit the like button underneath your live chat, people. It makes the video go to more people. The like button underneath your live chat. It's simple. And also, we'll do a couple of super chats if you want to get your opinion in, and we'll do them. I don't know what. There's a super chat that came in. AMT. I would sell Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko for starters. I've had enough
The thing with those two players is that they're good players. Okay, if you want to get top 4, then they are starters for you, 100%. If you, but at the end of the day, they are in terms of what Arsenal, and that's why I like the signings when Arsenal signed them, because at that point, no one expected Arsenal to go in a title race. They are top 4 players. They are title challenger depth players. Gabriel Jesus never started as a striker when City won the title. He was never the main striker. One season he did, we didn't win the title. I'm not saying it's because of him, but it's just a fact. Zinchenko, I think the most amount of Premier League starts he got for City in a season was like 12, 13. So Arsenal have rapidly, in my opinion, outgrown those two in terms of starters. Good players, great squad players for a title-winning team. Are you going to win the title with them? If you do, it's a very impressive achievement from the manager, is what I would say on that.
And you're talking about pre-knee injury Jesus as well, because post-knee injury Jesus is a different player, because he's lost more than a yard of pace, to the point where 2 of his best assets were his pressing, which he doesn't have the pace to do at the level he did it before, and also just bursting away from players. Like, he can't do it anymore. He can cut and cut and cut, but he can't actually get past anyone. Then you throw in the fact that he's got the lowest finishing rate of any single Premier League player that's had 50 or more shots this season. Overall, you're not going to win the Premier League with that, plain and simple.
German Chicken Wing is saying, I knew this day will come. How is that 1 point gain than the Etihad? Looking now for Arsenal fans. Couldn't believe they bottled it, playing cowardly. I disagree with you. I still disagree with this in hindsight narrative, my friend. Completely disagree. Going to the Etihad and getting 1 point is a very positive result. If Arsenal won yesterday, and they should have won, as everybody predicted them to win against Aston Villa, they would have been clear at the top. They would have been 2 points off Man City and 3 of Liverpool. What are we talking about here? We're talking about, how is that point looking? It would have looked great if they did their job against Aston Villa, because going to the Etihad, you're expecting to get a draw. That's very good. And playing at home, if you want to win the title, like what Man City did to Villa, they just won. So that's that narrative. By the way, this narrative is running from yesterday. Oh my God, Arsenal should have won at the Etihad. Oh yes, so Arsenal should have attacked at the Etihad, got 0 points, right? And now be 3 points behind Man City, not 2.
Your away games at your title rivals are the games that you don't look back on, or the games at the bottom of the list which cost you in a season. Arsenal fans will look at that run where they lost to West Ham and Fulham, back to back. That's where they arguably lost the league, because they then had to try and surmount a charge to get them points back, which ultimately, by the time they got them back, the gap wasn't big enough. They'll look back at Villa in the same way that with us. I won't look back at City away or Arsenal away, even though we lost. I'll look at drawing away to Luton, drawing away to Brighton, losing at home to Palace.
Yeah,
they're the games that cost you, because they're the games you should win. No one goes into them title rival games going, I expect to win away from home. No, you just don't.
And again, it's Man City though. Like, it's very strange. Like, Man City fans, not Nobbins, they say to us, by the way, we haven't been beaten at home in like 50 games since 2022. But then they blame Arsenal fans for saying a point at the Etihad is good. You can't have it both ways. Are you the best team at home? Nobody beats you at home? Or Arsenal should have won against you at home? I don't get it. Like, by the way, Man City last season, when they lost at Anfield 1-0, they said, we should have gotten a point. They would have been happy with a point. Away from home, they could have been happy with a point. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah. The thing is as well, that's the point. Like, in 2024, we've dropped fewer points than City and Liverpool. We've dropped 5. I think Liverpool have dropped 6 and City 7, or the other way around. But we've dropped the fewest points in 2024. The issue was we set ourselves up going into 2024 badly by losing against West Ham and Fulham. Like, if you'd said at the start of 2024, in your next 12 games, you're going to win 10, draw 1 and lose 1, we'd have been like, well, that's not bad. It's only because of the context of now that we've lost to Villa in a game that we feel like we should have won that it feels a lot worse. But yeah, people that still talk about the City game are just trying to justify some narrative they decided when we drew that game that it was somehow weak from Arsenal, which is just...
Terence Stips is saying, slight agree with Mo. We created chances, but Havertz as a 9 with a progressive CM. Jorginho, even party works. Why go back? Trossard and Jesus go to super subs. Again, I'm gonna repeat what I said again, Terence. It worked in the first half. All I want to know, and this is now comes the second part of this Arsenal talk before we move on from Arsenal. What has been said at halftime? And is it Arsenal's failure or Emery's better game management? Because somehow in the second half, I thought Villa gained confidence and Arsenal, they were scared of losing the game more than wanting. Villa wanted to win the game. By the way, Villa took way more risks second half. When Arsenal tried to press, Villa were like, we're not kicking it long this time. We're literally just playing it out of the back. We're getting Lukadin on the ball. We're getting this guy, what's his name, Morgan or whatever, this guy in the midfield that I never heard of before on the ball, that came from Championship. And for me, I'm like, Arteta, that's now where you earn your money, right? Managing a game like this at halftime, the all or nothing thing, this is it. This is where what happened. I don't know. Tactically, Nobbins explained it to us. Thank you, Nobbins. But I'm talking about mentality thing. How do you come out that second half destroyed like this? I don't know.
The worst thing for me, I like maybe Rory can touch on like the second half generally, but when they went 1-0 down, it's the 85th minute. And there was always going to be a lot of time. I don't know how much time there was. Was it 8 minutes in the end?
7.
Right, 8 minutes. So a lot of time. So at that point, there's plus nearly 15 minutes, basically. You can easily score a goal in that time. There is no, I know it's the 85th minute, but there's no need to panic or rush. They concede the goal, and then Jorginho, very unusual because he's normally such a composed player, tries to play this really low probability through ball in behind the Villa defense, just gets picked out because it's an incredibly difficult pass. Now, I'd be impressed if De Bruyne was able to do that. Never mind Jorginho. Then a few seconds later, it's 2-0. Now the game's over. So if I was an Arsenal fan, obviously disappointed with the second half performance generally, but that sort of response to going down, it's Arsenal of last season. Of this stage of the season. That's what it felt like to me. I thought that as a rival fan, that's why I was more scared of Arsenal this season. I thought that maybe those players had learned from those mentality issues of last season. Being throwing away the lead to West Ham, Liverpool, Southampton as they did last season. I just thought that was really disappointing. If I was an Arsenal fan, that'd be the thing I'd be most upset with.
Yeah, it was poor. I think I feel like at that point we were caught in two minds as to whether actually we were still trying to win this game, in which case we needed 2 goals and it did need to be aggressive. But I guess that goes kind of back to what Declan Rice said, that you take a draw if you can't win, you take a draw. And yeah, we went too gung ho too quickly. Once you're 2-0 down at that point, then it's very difficult to come back. So yeah, it was a bit naive, especially from someone like Jorginho, who's one of them, probably the most experienced head we've got. For him to make a mistake like that, I think is disappointing.
So what next though? Can you recover from this? Is the league title over?
No.
That's what people are asking.
No,
it's not over. It's not like immediate reaction was like we've thrown it away. City are going to win it.
I also didn't say it was over when City were down. I gave us a slim chance, but I still said, after the Arsenal game, I said, right, I reckon 10% chance City can win it. Then after Liverpool drop points at Old Trafford, I hope that's 20%. So and right now I'm at 50% City win it. So there's still definitely a chance. Like, we've still got to go away to Spurs. We've still got to
Ange, what have you got for me? Ange, I don't need anything else this season. What have you got for me?
I'm trying to pick up our other games. Away against Forest, where we drew last season. There you go. So away against Brighton, De Zerbi, good manager. So there is City could draw and Arsenal could still win the title because they've got a much better goal difference than us. So it's no way is it over. No. People saying it's over is crazy. I'm not doing an underdog thing, by the way. City should win from this point, but to say it's over is a bit short-sighted. Like, absolutely is a bit short-sighted.
Yeah, I think throughout last week, I said I think all 3 teams will drop points between now and the end of the season. Did I think in the very next game both Liverpool and Aston would lose? Not quite. But yes. I did say repeatedly that all 3 teams will drop points. So in theory, if I'm correct about that, and if Arsenal win our remaining 6 games, then that would lead to, and we keep our goal difference better than City's, then we would win the title. It's unlikely. It feels very unlikely now. More because, as much as I still think City will drop points, I don't think Arsenal will go and win the remaining 6 based on that performance yesterday. You know, if things get tough away at Spurs, if things get tough away at Old Trafford, even if things get tough away at Wolves, to be honest, in the next Premier League game we've got. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very tough. But equally, if City go and win the remaining 6, that'll mean that the last Premier League game they lost was in December. You go and win, I don't know, 20 odd games and drop points in 3 games between December and the end of the season without losing. Right, we're just competing with, doped up freaks. It's impossible.
What did you say?
With the PGMOL on their side?
I said we're competing with doped up freaks, and it's impossible.
Yeah, we bribed John McGinn to put in a masterclass at the Emirates. That's why.
No, you bribed Unai Emery to go full strength, as much full strength against us as he could, whilst resting players against you.
He just wanted to demonstrate that he's still got it to the Arsenal fans who were having a go with him. That's all. He just wanted to flaunt his nutsack in front of Arteta.
You know this narrative that Arsenal fans before Tom goes in that yesterday that Unai Emery went full strength. No Douglas Luiz, no Kamara.
No, I said as full strength as he could.
No, he couldn't. No, that's actually wrong. He played Diaby instead of playing Bailey. Diaby looked absolutely not great yesterday. He played Zaniolo. Well, I don't like Zaniolo, actually. I'm not a big fan of him at all. I didn't think he went full. Like, he played whatever team is there. And I didn't think Villa cared that much in the first half, to be honest. They looked wide open in the first. They didn't care. Like, I thought the players were so casual, like, in the first
half. The longer the game went on,
the longer they believed they can win this game.
Going, oh, actually, we could get something out of this. And that's our fault for not killing it in the first half. So, no. I'm only joking about City as well. I know you're getting all upset in the comments because you think this is all deadly serious.
And I want to talk about what you said about City, but go ahead, Tom.
I'm not. The cheats who paid off the PGMOL to get a draw at Anfield. That's
crazy.
No, this is what City do. That run of games where they didn't win in 6, that's when either one of us, Rory, should have just won them all and created a massive gap. The only time we beat them in a title race was when by the time we played them, we were like 11 points clear, and they just sort of went, well, what's the point? If you don't create a big enough gap, they will just come back and chase you. I don't know. I hope they're going to drop points, but where it happens, I don't know. I think it all comes down to if they get past Madrid in the Champions League. If they go out to Madrid, they ain't dropping points in any other game. Best believe Pep is not letting this league go and the Champions League go in the same season.
It's
all
just
depends
worth
on if they get to the Champions League semi-final.
I was just going to say, it's worth noting, just like talking about like winning runs. Like, this has not been a season of winning runs. So, like, for example, Liverpool's max amount of games they've won in a row has been 5 this season. This in the Premier League, 5. Man City's only 6. Arsenal's was 8. So if City win all their games, from now to the end of the season, that would be 9 in a row, which is something no one's done all season. So that's what I'm saying about it's not a guarantee that City win all their games. As I say, if they did, then it would be for the first time it would be the best winning run of any team this season. Like, this has been a weird season in terms of like teams just like dropping points where you wouldn't necessarily.
Hold on, but don't try to undersell it, mate. It'd be 10 wins in a row. It'd be 10 wins in a row. It'd be record-breaking numbers for the season. You'd hit double figures.
It'd be 9 because it was 9 games left after the Arsenal game.
Villa, City, Luton, Brighton,
City.
Forest, Wolves, Fulham, Tottenham, West Ham.
There were definitely 9 games after the Arsenal game. Definitely. Because I remember me and LB going, we got to win 9 out of 9. We drew at Arsenal. Against Arsenal, sorry.
It is 9. I've counted fucking Chelsea. Why have you got an FA Cup game there? Why have you got an FA Cup game?
Don't listen to this guy's takes, guys. He can't even count. No cap. Ignore him.
No, I can count how many big chances we missed because fucking hell, we have
You've never won against De Zerbi's Brighton away from home in the Premier League. So it's
a very good point.
Yeah, but Rory, don't do that because I remember having all these things and then they just fucking break. They decide to break them.
We've still never scored a Premier League goal at Spurs' new ground.
Yeah,
only an FA Cup goal.
The only one that gives me hope is Spurs. I have zero hope in Brighton. I have zero hope in Brighton. When my team are able to beat Brighton at home, Yeah, there's no hope for Brighton. There's no hope for Brighton. They're going to be routinely dispatched 3-1, and it'll be done and dusted.
I actually think that it's not about Man City at all. Man City didn't make Arsenal lose yesterday or Liverpool. Oh my God,
Man City's done their job.
this thing going on Twitter now that we're playing against the well-oiled machine. Well, Man City didn't make you lose yesterday at home against Crystal Palace, or didn't make Arteta completely collapse at halftime. No,
You're right,
it's not Pep Guardiola's fault.
You're right, but historically, you've never had to expect a team to win. What Arsenal, that would have made it Arsenal winning 11 and drawing 1. Like, historically, teams have never had to do that, and would have
Rory,
games
but that's
that don't
because
work.
you lost to Fulham and West Ham. It's not because Man City forced you to do this. You had to do it to stay in the race.
But if you look at like just every season, pretty much pre the current City Pep team, like what teams now have to do to win the league is just far more. Factually.
Antonio Conte had to win 14 games in a row, if I'm not mistaken, to go top. And he got 93 points. Man City can't get 93 points this season. They just can't. Physically, they cannot. Like, mathematically, they can't. Antonio Conte, which is the first season of Pep, got 93 points to win the league. Mourinho, back in the days, got 91 points to win the league.
If City win
this
the title, then
Pep thing, you can blame him. Yes, you can not blame him. You can blame him when Liverpool and City went to 97, 98 points. Yes, but not this season. Man City went 6 games without a win.
Yes, but Mo, in the same breath, they're also now 27 games unbeaten in a row.
You did it before. Liverpool did it before.
Yes, Mo, we did it before, and that is the single greatest Liverpool side I probably will ever see in my life. The single greatest Liverpool side I've ever seen in my life was the only side that could get past Pep Guardiola. It's not an excuse, but it's just a case of, for fuck's sake, can he do one? Can he do one? Because when he does one,
coping mechanism, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably
maybe
partly
it is.
But when he goes,
mechanism.
No. Let me ask you this: when Pep goes, do you think league titles are still going to be won by 95, 96 points?
Might not.
So the point stands. It's just the timing of saying it is. It comes across another way. When Pep Guardiola goes, the league will drop in the sense in quality, in terms of the point to take someone a title, because you won't have teams that are every single year putting together 25 game unbeaten runs. You won't. I remember the first season City won 17 in a row, and everyone was going, "Oh my God, that is crazy. We'll never see that again." I'm pretty sure, Nobbins, correct me if I'm wrong, have you not done that 3 times since, where you've won 17 games in a row in all comps?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Also, so we went from something that was a historical achievement to something that is now pretty much a regular occurrence.
So let me come to the next. Fantastic. The next question then. So Arsenal, forget Jurgen Klopp. He did it once, he's leaving. So Arsenal fans, do you think Arteta can actually win against Pep? Forget competing now, right? We're not talking about, you are actually, right now, you are competing. Right now, you are competing. Can he win against Pep Guardiola? Because from what I'm hearing now, we're going against we're going against Pep. This is good enough. I've heard it yesterday, by the way. We are good enough. This is good enough. We challenge. Hopefully, when Pep leaves, we win. We heard it yesterday, by the way, from a lot of people. So the question is, should people just accept that and just live with it and wait for Pep to leave? Or should you go out and get someone who can win against Pep Guardiola? Arsenal.
For me, sorry, Rory, you go ahead.
Look, I think, can you win against Pep? Yeah, of course you can. It could happen. Literally, you could have a season where everything goes absolutely perfectly and you beat him and things go wrong for City. Is it probable? No, and I've been consistent with that. I've always said Arsenal's best chance to win a Premier League will be the season that Pep leaves. There will be one season, where Pep leaves and they have a down season, and then a new manager will come in and still perform because it's City and they have all of the tools available. That will be the best chance. Can Arsenal do it before that? Compete against Pep? Yes. Is it likely? Very much no, in my opinion.
Okay. Before Nobbins, I have to follow that with a question. Sorry. So if Pep extends a new contract for 2 years, 2027, and Arteta doesn't win the league, and the reason why I'm asking this because Jurgen Klopp is leaving. Okay, we'll come to Liverpool later. And Arteta doesn't win the league and compete for the next 3 years, but doesn't win it. That's okay for you as long as you're competing, as long as you're near the top. That's all right.
It's not okay, but unless there's another manager that's out there that has somehow proven that they're better and can do better and beat Pep, then what? There's no point changing it. Like, you know, if you're talking about Klopp being top 3 or 4 Premier League managers of all time,
he's not. He's 6, but fine.
He's
okay,
fifth,
6th, whoever.
6.
Do I think?
Sorry, who you got above Klopp then?
Top 10.
There's
Ranieri.
Fergie, Ranieri.
Brilliant.
Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Ranieri. The same fella who's been stacked about 3 times.
Me and HUSAM, it's all about achievements. Me and HUSAM talked about it yesterday. The reason why I put Ranieri ahead of him, because if he doesn't win Europa League and the league this season, I think that's too long with very good of a team to win 1 league title and 1 Champions League. And the achievement of Ranieri exceeds that, in my opinion. Anyway, listen, I don't want to go into this. We can have a discussion. 5th, above Ranieri. This is dwelling on nothing. Like, seriously, that's not even a conversation. Like, I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to have this conversation.
Big up Joe Royal. Big up Joe Royal.
I really don't want to have this conversation, Tom. Like, genuinely. And I'm not trying to diss him. I spoke with, like me and HUSAM said, 5th, 6th, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters at all. I don't think it matters. I'm sorry, Liverpool fans. He's above Ranieri.
Thank you.
He's above Ranieri. I'm sorry. Apologies. Footy judgment. I made a mistake. It's my mistake.
Thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead, Rory.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not even convinced that, like, you know, Wenger would have, even the managers that you would put above Klopp, how many of them would have beaten City and how many times? I'm just not convinced that, you know, they would have done. If you look at the average points that Fergie used to pick up, I think if you look back at the last however many titles that City have won, you'd have won 1 title.
But football have changed. So that's, I disagree with you.
But football's changed. But football's changed. But if anything, managers have regressed. Look at the manager market now. Who out there would you look at and go, yeah, they're going to come in and take over a team and then beat the current Pep City team? Who?
There's only ever been 3 managers who've actually beaten Pep to a title. One of them was Jose in his pomp, like in the last years of his pomp, was Jose. There was Conte in 2016-17, and I'm sure City fans will say that wasn't a title-winning team because it was.
Yeah, they finished on 78 points.
And then Jurgen Klopp with the single greatest season my football club on a league basis has ever had. That's what it took. Mourinho had to get, was it 100 points?
I think it was.
Mourinho had to do Centurions. Conte went up against the first season at City Pep, and my manager had to do 99 points to beat him. We're not talking about some manager who you can rock up with and then you do him over a year. There is a reason why Pep is the greatest of all time. There's a reason why I cannot wait for the day he decides to fuck off from the Premier League. I need him to go. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that day. I have never been more jealous of one team than I am of Pep than the team managed by Pep Guardiola, because he wins. He wins. This isn't just something which a manager comes in and does him. No. You don't do what he's done by being able to be beaten that easy. Just go look at all the titles that have been won against him. You don't know? I will say this. My favourite ever stat about Pep Guardiola. There's one team that finished above Pep Guardiola and never won the league. And that was Tottenham in 16-17. They're the only team to finish above a Pep Guardiola team and not win the league.
So what do you think, though? Because the way you asked that question was as if you had a solution to the Pep problem.
Yeah, you'll be better than Pep.
Oh, brilliant! That's genius.
Be better than
making analysis.
No one has thought of that one.
People.
You beat Manchester City once this season. You drew against them. Liverpool did not lose against them. Manchester City, for example, this season have not been the same Manchester City we have watched over the years. Until this moment, Manchester City, right? They do not know their starting 11 because of many factors, because of a lot of injuries. Stones has been in and out. Kyle Walker have been making mistakes. Rodri needs rest, right? Julian Alvarez Pep Guardiola himself doesn't know his best 11 because of many factors. It's not only because he's trying to, he doesn't know. If Ake comes back and Gavardiol comes back, he doesn't know who plays, right? This Man City team look different, and I'm going to keep saying it. And the proof is we have two teams that goes toe to toe with Manchester City at the current moment. Manchester City, I think they have, do you have 72 or 73 points? I can't remember the table. They have 73 points. The point tally might look the same, but Man City keep conceding goals and keep conceding chances in games. Arsenal went to the Etihad and played defensively and could have won the game. You put in your failure, and I'm not sure if you're going to fail or not, right? Because you might still go and win the league. Man City could drop points against Brighton, whoever, you know what I mean? But I'm looking at Arsenal, and I saw no signs. And I said down the football terrace, I said I see no signs of Arsenal dropping points. The proof is everyone yesterday looked very surprised that Arsenal lost the game in that manner. Everybody expected you to win that game. The way you made Brighton look mediocre the other day, especially in the second half, away from home, where Brighton haven't lost since September. And I actually thought Brighton would have been a banana skin. In the first half, you struggled a little bit and you scored at the end, and you made them look very mediocre. A team that haven't lost at home since September. You made them look mediocre, right, Brighton? That's what you did. Like, you made teams look mediocre this season. Arteta got very good combination of players. Your bench that people say yesterday, your bench is not good enough. Yesterday, you could have started the game with a good lineup and could have had Jesus, Trossard, Thomas Partey, Tomiyasu, and Kivior off the bench. That's a good enough bench to win you the game with a good starting lineup. It's not about Pep Guardiola. It's about you doing it. Are we saying Liverpool, by the way, I said Liverpool are favorites, right? Liverpool, and you can't tell me that you sat here and expected Liverpool to lose against Crystal Palace.
No, we fucked it.
Exactly. It's not Pep's fault. You could have won this league, Tom. You were favorites. You had an easy start at Manchester City.
No one said it. No one said it.
Yeah,
was. No one said it was Pep's fault.
Of people
it's giving
the
credit
League.
To Pep. So Mo, your point there was no, but your point there was Arsenal
I'm neutral, and I'm tired of this.
But
I never said that Antonio Conte in Italy and Allegri won the league with Juventus. We blamed our teams. We never said that these guys get 90 points.
You have just explained it. Bear in mind, neither me or Rory have said our teams are blameless. Yes, they fucked it. But you've just said Arsenal have a squad that can compete with City. Liverpool
and can win against City now.
Yes. And Liverpool have a squad that could compete with City, especially in years gone by. Have a squad that could compete with City and win against City. So, if the squads are at equal footing, what's the difference? The man in charge.
If what?
If the squads are of an equal standing in terms of quality, i.e. Arsenal's squad could be as good as City's and can beat City's, and City's can be as good as Arsenal's and beat Arsenal's, and chuck Liverpool in that mix as well. The difference maker is the manager, and Pep Guardiola, the greatest manager of all time, is better than Jurgen Klopp and Mikel Arteta.
I never doubted that. Never said otherwise. Never.
So that's
but
the
difference. Just said you need to be better. But the solution...
with your team, of course, with your team. Do you believe every manager, and let me just, do you believe every manager that win the league is better than the other managers? They might be better that season. They might be performing better that season. Jurgen Klopp won the league against Pep. Let me tell you something. Pep Guardiola came and lost the league against Conte. It's his first season, fine, right? But he won the league, right? Against him, winning 14 games. I remember the game that Conte won 2-0 against Pep Guardiola. That's the game that started everything for Antonio Conte, if I'm not mistaken. When someone got a red card. I think Aguero got a red card in that game. Again, when he hit David Luiz. Antonio Conte was better than Pep that season. But that doesn't mean Antonio Conte is compared to Pep at all, by the way. At all.
But we're not talking about first season Pep with a City team that wasn't as good then as it is now. We're not comparing that. We're talking about
team
now.
It's not great as well. It's not.
It's the best. It's pound for pound. It is still the best squad in the world. You cannot argue that. Pound for pound, that is still the best squad in the world.
I disagree with you completely in this.
The solution is that you have to strike while the iron is hot.
Yes.
That's it.
So, like I said earlier, that run where they didn't win 6 games, me and us and
So
Arsenal
it's your
had to
fault,
win.
not Pep's fault.
Yes, no one has said otherwise, but we are also explaining why City are what they are and why, if you don't take them opportunities, you get punished, because Pep Guardiola is the difference maker. He's the guy who will always be the difference maker. We're going to get Amorim in. Arsenal could sack Arteta in 2 years and get someone else in. No one we get in will ever, ever, ever be better than Pep Guardiola. That's the stone cold fact. Even when we beat them to the title that year, I love that year. We were boss. We got 99 points. We also had to go up against a City that were playing Otamendi and Fernandinho, and Rodri and Fernandinho as centre-back pairings for 2 months. We benefited because we struck whilst they had injury problems, and they were playing their best DMs in centre-back, so they were playing crap plays in DM, and they were getting exposed. Every other season, Man City turn it on. It's no excuse. What we can always sit there and say we should have done better. When I look back at this season, I'm not going to sit there and go, "Oh well, what can you do with City?" I'm going to go, "You shouldn't draw with Brighton. You shouldn't draw with Luton. You shouldn't lose to Palace." But I'm not going to diminish what Pep Guardiola's achieved and go, "Well, it's the other team's fault for not doing it." Pep Guardiola has done what he's done. Like I said before, Pep Guardiola winning 25 games in a row in all competitions was obscene, and I think had been done once before. Pep Guardiola has now done it 4 times in 7 years. He makes the abnormal normal. He affects how people view normality. Before Pep Guardiola came in, people would have been shocked to see 2 teams get 90 points. Now, if you get 90 points, enjoy third. Enjoy third. That's what it is. What Pep Guardiola has done is not normal. He is abnormal. He has ruined the status quo in English football. That's what he's done. And people trying to diminish that and blaming other teams for not doing that is not. It's not giving the credit to him. I'm not trying to create excuses for my team. I know why my team have not won titles in years.
You are. If I support a team in the Premier League and I hear someone say that, oh my God, this is jarring, bro. I'm gonna explain it for the last time. The league table look like this at the current moment. Manchester City 73 points, Liverpool 71 points. Against Manchester City, Liverpool at Anfield were the better team against Pep's team. On paper, you should have won the game. The referee fucked up. That was a penalty. You should have won the game. Hold on, let me finish. At that time, Manchester City would have been, at the current moment, would be 72 points, and you would have been 73 points, right? You should have won against Crystal Palace at home. And by now, you should have been, on paper, 73 points. Regardless of what Pep has done, still the magnificent run, whatever thing. Let me finish. Even with Pep's magnificent thing that he did this season, or great unbeaten thing, Liverpool at this current moment, without Pep doing anything, should have been 4 points ahead. 4 points with 6 games left. The league should be Liverpool's league at the current moment.
And I didn't say any differently.
And it's not because you are bad or because Pep did this or that. It's because of a referee's mistake and you fucking up in a game that you should have been 4-0 up in the first half against Crystal Palace, or 4-1 up. You should have been 4 points now ahead of Manchester City. As for Arsenal, if you tell me that the Arsenal that played this season, that started slow and then played magnificent after this, would drop points against Villa at home, where I believe Aston Villa in the first half, Aston Villa went to this game defeated. I promise you, the way Arsenal got behind their back line was very easy. One through pass from Odegaard, Havertz, 1-on-1. Just freaking finish the ball. Just freaking finish. Trossard, great cut back from Jesus. Just put it 1 yard to the left. We're talking different talk. We aren't talking the mentality.
But we can do that for every game that isn't against.
And I can do this for City as well. And I can do this for City as well.
But so Arsenal should have won 36 games against every other team and ended on 110 points.
No,
but that's what you do. You go through every game against a lesser opposition and say Arsenal should win that game because on paper they should win that game. So we should all end up on
I didn't mention
points.
Fulham. Why didn't I mention Fulham and West Ham, Rory?
Why
didn't I mention that? I didn't. Why? Because that was the blip. That was the blip. Your Arsenal, your Fulham and West Ham is the blip. We accepted that. Same as Man City 6 game. That is the blip.
And since that, we've won 10, drawn at the Etihad, and now lost. So if we hadn't lost against Villa, we'd still theoretically have had to win every game till the end of the season. So you're still saying, right, you can have a blip and then you have to win
But
17
you
out of the
said
remaining
that
18
City want
games.
to win every game, Rory. You literally said that now.
They do. But they're capable. That's the difference at the moment. That's what we're saying. And other than your idea of just be better, which it's not tangible.
It is very tangible. I believe it's tangible because at the end, it can be done. It's like, and it could have been done this season. I'm telling you, forget Arsenal, okay? Liverpool could have been 4 points on paper, and I'm not saying coulda, shoulda. On paper, if you ask anyone, Liverpool should be 4 points ahead of Manchester City at the current moment.
I don't think I said any differently. I said that this season it's on us, but I'm not downplaying what Pep Guardiola's achieved.
I never downplaying what Pep Guardiola. He's arguably the best manager out there at the current moment.
Like I said earlier, if I go look at where we've lost the league this year, Palace, Luton, Brighton, games like that have let us down, and United. Let's not
Man City
get
game.
United again. No, I will always look at games against title rivals and go, I'd like to win, but just don't lose. And we didn't lose. Should we have potentially won? Yeah. If Diaz could finish or if we got the penalty, yeah. But in the same breath, we probably should have lost the game at the Etihad because it's a very soft foul on Alisson. So it swings in roundabouts in that way. Ultimately, I will never look back at a season. Even the year where we got 97 points and didn't win the title, we lost to City. I don't look back at that game and say that's where we lost it. I look at drawing with Leicester, drawing with West Ham, drawing with Everton, and going, they're the games that let you down. This year, we are the reason we won't win the league. We're the reason that we won't win the league. But ultimately, the standard it takes to win a league now is so incredibly high because of one man, and that's Pep Guardiola. That's all we're saying.
I think the point you're not understanding, Mo, is that we're not saying our team shouldn't have gone out there. Arsenal should have gone and beat Villa yesterday. Absolutely. The second half that's not a title-winning second half, right? We should have won that game. What we're saying is, if City win their remaining 6 games, they'll finish on 91 points. That's 1 point more than the Invincibles. The best Arsenal team I have seen in my life. They'll, in an off-season, by City standards, finish on more points than that Invincibles team. Tom needed the best Liverpool team he has ever seen and may well ever see to beat City once. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about each team might get a shot at it, and maybe it works out for Chelsea's Conte's Chelsea team. It worked out. I think that was contextually very different, but. What we're saying is, am I really going to sit here and throw the team and the manager under the bus for not being the best team, the best Arsenal team that I've ever seen? Because that's what you're asking us to do.
No, you shouldn't.
But that's what you're asking us to do. Should Arteta get sacked for not being the best Arsenal manager ever?
But I don't believe that Arteta should get sacked.
Right. Okay.
I believe Arteta should get sacked in one aspect only. If you regress, sorry, Nobbins, I'm gonna let you know. If you regress, and I don't believe you have regressed from last season, but I'm gonna say that if Arsenal go and capitulate from here on in the league, question should be asked. 100%. Question should be asked.
The main issue or worry or fear I would have if I was a Arsenal, Liverpool fan, whatever. As I was saying before, you've got to strike while the iron's hot. I'm still, even if we're, for argument's sake, let's assume from this point the City win the title, just for argument's sake. That doesn't change my comments this season. I think it's the worst season that Pep's had in respect of coaching. We've had our best player injured for half of it. We didn't replace Gundogan properly. Transfer window was a little bit of a weird situation. Pep went on his worst ever run in league football in November, December, when, I don't know the exact stat, but it was Pep's worst ever run in senior league football. So I think Tom's right when he says that. I think Rory said this as well. But if City do win the title, then it's their own fault more so than it is City's. But then secondly, this is what I'm getting towards. I think we may have discussed it before. Again, this is an off-season by City's perspectives. I don't care about the points totals. I know my team. This is not a good City team compared to like last season or whatever. Like, we were making weird mistakes. It's a weird lineup selections, bad runs, as I say, relative to what I know the City side can be. There is no world in which this summer we don't go out and have a really strong transfer window, there is no world in which next season City are a lot stronger. I'm so convinced of that that City will be so much better next season compared to how we've been consistently this season. So and that's what I mean about you got to strike while the iron's hot. If we're going to be even better next season, again, this being an off year, what are the chances that City aren't going to win it again next season? It's almost an insurmountable mountain to climb at that point, and that's why from Arsenal and Liverpool's perspective, it's such a shame for them that they, as it stands, are not in charge of their own destiny. As it stands, City will win the title, and again, they in my opinion, can only really have themselves to blame. If you can't take advantage of all those factors I mentioned, then that's on them.
You're right. And I think that's why we need to relook at the football landscape, realistically, of like what we actually expect now. Because it used to be as well that teams would go through cycles. I don't think, Man City's cycle is that even in an off season, they're still on track to get 91 points, which is, more than the Invincibles got. So like it used to be that you'd have cycles. Liverpool had their best period through a cycle. They're potentially going to drop off now. Arsenal had a massive down period, ramped back up to, arguably one of our best teams, still not enough. Man United now with Ineos may, having been out of it, ramp back up. And they might have a couple of seasons where they have a shot at the title. But I just think it's changed. It's just not the way football used to be. It's a different landscape now.
So, okay. Your guys' solution is just we'll have to wait until Pep leaves.
What other option is there?
Unless Arteta can somehow figure it out, or our next gaffer figures it out. Yes, the solution is wait until Pep does one. That was the solution in Germany, and that was the solution in Spain.
Exactly. And Mo, you don't have a solution other than just be better, which is just not a solution.
But you were better this season.
But we weren't, because we lost. We had a blip where we lost 2 games. We've lost to Aston Villa. We're not better.
This one, me and you disagree, Rory. I actually thought that you were better than Manchester City this season.
We might have played better football for large parts of it.
For the large parts of the season, for large parts of the season, best attack, best defense. Am I wrong here? You know your lineup. Your manager is getting the best out of players that we thought they're washed, right? Your manager is making players perform very well by having the good plan for them, the likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Jorginho, right? The likes of Kivior. So your manager getting the best out of David Raya, you know what I mean? Yep. While the other manager, Pep Guardiola, is struggling to find his best lineup, forcing a player to play in the midfield, left wing, right wing. He doesn't know, right? He's experimenting in the season. So I can have the argument to sit here and say, yes, Arsenal looked better than Manchester City. And I get your point, Rory. Oh, yeah, that even this bad Manchester City have 91 points. You can do the same. You arguably still can get, how many points? You can get 89 now? Is that what you can get? That's what I predicted for you, 89 points, actually.
Yeah.
I predicted you to get 89 points, right? I predicted Liverpool to get 90 points, and both Man City and Arsenal to get 89 points, and Liverpool to win the league. But I didn't put in mind that Darwin Núñez and the rest of them will shit their bed, and suppose and they will have this game. I didn't predict them to have this game, and I'm sorry if you ask me, for football fan, to sit here on channels and predict Liverpool losing at home against Crystal Palace in that manner. I'm like, say, all right then. This is 90s football all over again. We cannot predict football anymore. I'm sorry. Arsenal and Liverpool, if they lose this league, it's not because Pep was better than them. Yes, at the end, it will prove that Man City are better because on paper they won the league. It is because Arsenal and Liverpool failed to actually do the job that they could have done. There is a difference between someone. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this last thing.
The most basic way of analysing it is just we didn't capitalise on their blip, but they've capitalised on both of ours. They took the points during our blips when we dropped ours, and they took the point during Arsenal's blip when they dropped theirs. But when they went 6 games without a win, we drew 2 and won 4, or we might have even lost one in that time as well. And Arsenal dropped points and didn't pick them all up. City are just going, haha, you're having a blip. Win. And all of a sudden, that gap that you'd had just crumbles and crumbles, and then all of a sudden you look around going, how the fuck are they above us? That's what they do. They capitalize on your blips. We had the opportunity this season to capitalize on their blip, which is what you have to do, and we didn't. That's the fact. No, I don't think I'm certainly not blaming anyone else but my team for why we're not going to win the title this year. Because that we know that you need to capitalize on their blips.
All I wanted is a different winner for the Premier League. That's all I want.
Well, you can't have that. Hold that. No, we don't all want that.
All I want is a different
every
winner for the Premier
boring,
League, bro.
boring City. Give me my trophies.
That's all I wanted today. I was praying in Ramadan, and I was like, oh, let's get another winner for the Premier League so we can enjoy next season. Now Pep is gonna do 5P or whatever, and Farmers League, Italian League again, French League, Farmers League. Anyway, listen, I'm just saying that it could have been as Nobin said it very well. If there was a season to be done, it was this guy. It was this year. Anyway, I'm not saying anything about like Liverpool, because now let's touch on Liverpool later. Let me do this couple of these super chats. Ryan here is saying, thank you, Ryan. Tom is a fraud. Constantly backs some of the shit players. Nunes is awful. Salah is finished. He still defends Szoboszlai. Congrats to Manchester City.
Salah is finished. That's crazy.
Salah, your best player this season.
I know. Hold on. I know the man who is getting merch made about his horrendous comments. 16 out of 10 merch. I know he's not coming at me about being a fraud. Let's just park the brakes on that, Ryan, and understand. I mean, weren't you the one in my DMs the other day going, you know what, you were right about Gakpo?
He'll expose you. He's got receipts.
Come back to the super chat at the end of the season. We will not win another game this season.
Oh my God.
Can I finish? Because I want him to do something. Ryan, if you're watching now, you can click clip and you can actually have this permanently on my channel. Come back to the super chat at the end of the season. We will not win another game this season. Top 4 may be in jeopardy. We are finished. I actually think this is the most overreaction that I've seen ever in my life. Ever. I've never seen overreaction like this ever in my life. I have never seen someone overreacting like this in my life. This is crazy.
So this man thinks we are not going to win any of our final 6 Premier League games.
Yes.
I mean, who have you got?
Mr. Happy saying there isn't a manager out there who can beat. There isn't a manager out there who beat Pep.
Yeah.
There's no manager out there currently better than Pep. That's definitely for sure.
I would say there are managers out there who can beat Pep in a one-off game. Arteta's done it this season. I don't think there's a manager out there that can beat Pep throughout the course of a season right now. And until someone proves otherwise, then that's factually correct.
All right. AMT saying, my opinion only, no one else. If Arteta had an Isak or Watkins instead of Jesus, I know in my heart that we beat Pep, Klopp, and Klopp to the APL. Do you agree with that, Rory?
Well, maybe, but assuming that we go and do that this summer, then we'll find out next season.
I think as well, if we're going to give Arsenal one player, if you give us a player to fix our problems and City a player to fix their problems, I just gave them Gundogan back. It probably ends up being the same way again.
Yes.
And again, we will be fixing that issue this summer. There's no doubt in my mind.
By signing Paqueta?
Paqueta, and then one of a Bruno Guimaraes type player. And then probably another winger as well.
Look, you can sit there and say Paqueta and Guimaraes. I know I'm going to be shopping in Championship.
Release Pause FC.
That is the difference. That is the difference.
I'm going to be sitting there going, "Ooh, maybe Somerville can do something for me. Maybe Fabio Carvalho can come back from his loan and be the difference maker for us." I know we're not spending 100 million anymore.
Last year, City won the treble last year, spent more than us last summer. They'll probably win the double treble this year and go and spend more than us again this summer. But Arteta needs to beat Klopp. Needs to beat Pep.
Arteta has spent more than City since he joined, by the way. Just an FYI, he spent more.
Let's just bear in mind how mental that sounds, people. Pep Guardiola's about to do a double treble.
We're getting too ahead of ourselves here. Let's chill out.
We're not. All you've got to do is you've got to beat
Oh,
Real Madrid at home, and then you've either got to beat this Arsenal team or
Bayern.
the worst Bayern Munich team that anyone's ever seen, apparently. And then what? And then you've got to beat flipping someone on the other side of the draw who are all terrible.
And they've got to beat Chelsea in the FA Cup. Little old Chelsea, and then either Coventry or United, and then just cruise to a Premier League title. We are doing. Yeah. Pep Guardiola is going to repeat the treble, and the solution is just be better than him. The solution to that is just be better.
By the way, people talking about the fact that Arteta spent more than City since Arteta joined. Do me a favour, go and look at the squad that Arteta picked up when he joined, compared to the City squad that existed at that point. Let's not,
But he has to have spent more money. So if it is just an objective fact.
It is an objective fact.
You brought it up, so I'm just bringing it up as well.
It is an objective fact, but with the context of the squad that he inherited, let's be realistic.
The only way we ever win this league is for City to lose to Chelsea because they thrive on that fast schedule, and for Arsenal to stop taking City washed tops. Yeah, Joyce. Probably you're right. But now I hope that Man City lose the league just to prove everyone wrong. Arsenal and Liverpool can win the league. I hope that Arsenal win every game.
Of course they can win it.
I sat there yesterday and said if Liverpool win every single game for the rest of the season, we could win we'll win this title, because I think City are due a loss. Especially with the run of fixtures that they could have coming up. I could see them losing a game. And if we win every game to end the season, we win the title because we finish a point ahead of them. The worst nightmare for me, the genuine worst nightmare for me, is City draw a game, we win all ours, and we lose the fucking title on goal difference on the last day.
Or to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Arsenal... I don't know how Arsenal will handle that run of the semi. I think Arsenal get past Bayern.
Because... Would it hurt more losing the title to Arsenal?
I just couldn't be arsed with the narratives that will run from it in terms of Arteta's as good as Klopp and this, that, and the other. Yeah, that's what annoyed me. But if I lose to City, I'll be more annoyed if I lost to City because it was there to beat City this year, and City have been the fucking pain in my arse during the best years of Liverpool. That's why it would annoy me with City. With Arsenal, it would just be having to go on and go, oh, Mikel Arteta's better than Jurgen Klopp in the Premier League, yada, yada, yada. And I miss me with that shit, man. I'm all right.
Yeah.
So what do we expect next season then?
I don't know what to expect from my club next year. It could go fucking anyway with my club. They're the ones to ask because they've got some stability. They'll keep their managers. They'll keep the majority of their squad.
I'm going to come to Liverpool. But Rory was going to say something about Arsenal. I'm going to come to Liverpool with this question. Go ahead, Rory.
I expect this to improve again. We do see constant progression. I think this Arsenal team is better than the last Arsenal's team. I think that we'll improve in the summer, address some issues. I think you would hope the players will get more consistent. Like, generally speaking, as players and teams mature, they get more consistent. So I do think we'll be better, but the big worry is the next season, I think City will be a lot better. If this is a blip for City,
So you aren't expecting to win the title next season if you don't win it this season?
Not if Pep's still there, no.
All right. I like this.
You?
So, me?
Do you expect Arsenal to win the league next season?
Depending on the signings in the summer, to be honest with you. Listen, I have to tell you something. Thank you, LB. Of course, guys. I'm going to tell you something, Rory. I don't think any manager will go to a league favorites against Pep Guardiola as a manager, right? Because even though Arteta's gaining one more year experience, Pep as well is gaining one more year. Does that make sense? It goes both ways. I'm not an idiot. And I believe that Pep Guardiola created the best system I've ever seen in my life, and I'm 39 years old. Right? So I watch football. The best system in my life in leagues ever. A system that can actually work against 17 out of the 19 teams you play. However, I believe that You, as a manager, you don't need to be better than Pep to win the league, right? You just need to capitalize on the opportunities, which is what you did this season up to this game. There might be another opportunity for you, as everybody's expecting City to drop points. This might be the blip. This Aston Villa game might be the blip for you. City you draw, Aston Villa is the blip. You might go and win the last 6 games. Will you, though? That's the question. Because based on everyone's narrative now, people think that Man City will drop points against Chelsea, against like Spurs. They will drop 2 points. You still have superior goal difference, if I'm not mistaken. You're 2 points behind Manchester City. So basically, Arsenal have to do the job. That's it. That's all we're asking. So you don't have to be better than Pep. And by the way, if Arteta win the league this season, doesn't mean he's better than Pep Guardiola, does it? It doesn't. It doesn't mean that. It just means he beat them this season. That's the point. That's my point. I'm never arguing Arteta better than Pep. Even if he win, by the way, even if Arteta wins it this season and next season, it's not. It's as simple as you can win it next season. If you get the signings right in the summer, you can win it. You can win the league. It's very simple. Am I expecting you to win? Are you favorites to win the league? It's yet to be seen. What if you go and sign a good striker, sign another midfielder, and City go and sign Bruno Guimaraes and Paqueta? I don't think City improves that much with these 2 players. I just don't think so.
Hard disagree. Hard disagree.
But that's my opinion.
That solves literally all of our issues, basically. Just those 2 players. We'll sign, and that's the thing is we'll sign a winger as well. We've already got Savio coming in. We'll probably bring in another winger as well. That's the Gundogan replacement, and it's almost like a long-term De Bruyne creativity replacement as well.
Listen, the thing about it, if Arsenal accept that it's all right not to win the league and for 2, 3, 4 years under the same manager, well, I'm not sure where to go from here.
It's not accepting it.
There has to be a point where you stop.
Yeah, but there's a difference between accepting it. No one's accepting it, but you have to acknowledge that it is a complete possibility because you'd have to. Arsenal fans are regularly accused of being delusional. I think you'd have to be delusional to sit here and say that Arsenal are going to go and win a title whilst Pep's still at City and they continue with the level of squad that they have. That would be delusional. It's not accepting defeat, but it's acknowledging that it's.
But doesn't it warrant a change?
This is the thing that we keep coming back to. What would the change be?
Let me explain to you. I'm gonna give you hypotheticals, right? A couple of hypotheticals, Rory. Xabi Alonso this season have 79 points from 29 games. So if he's in the 38 games, he's on course to get like madness, right? If I'm not mistaken, there is 9 games left to 38. So he definitely can get 27 more points. Let's say he get 20 more points. He's on course to get 99 points. Okay. He wins the league next season again with Bayer Leverkusen. And you don't win the league next season. Simeone Inter win the league this season. We're going to win it. We need 1 point. And he wins the league again next season. These 2 managers are available. Would you replace Arteta with one of them at least? To say, well, these 2 might give us a better chance against Pep. Do you believe any manager out there will give you a better chance against Pep is worth a try?
I don't think there is one now that you could say. If you're talking about, okay, so they go and win it again next year, but what if Arsenal go and get 95 points next year and City get 97? Do I look at that then and go, okay?
Do you think that's more plausible than 90 points this season?
Yeah, I think it's plausible that we could go and get mid-90s next season and still not win the title, yeah. And if that happens...
Okay.
The thing is, we're running hypotheticals. If Arsenal don't,
we are absolutely running hypotheticals here.
If Arsenal don't improve at all next season, Alonso goes. I mean, if Alonso goes and wins the title, by the way, he's going to Real Madrid. So,
okay, I'm saying hypothetical because there might be someone else. I don't know.
Yes, then yeah. If we don't improve at all, then yes, you could go and get an Alonso if he's gone on to do the same with Bayer Leverkusen next season, because he'll have proven that it's not a flash in the pan, a one season wonder. He'll have proven himself in that sense. But it's like even then though, I wouldn't go, we're bringing Alonso, we're going to beat Pep now. I still wouldn't believe that.
I believe a change is needed just because something new. If you're not winning, just a change is needed.
I don't think Arsenal need change anytime soon, though. I think changes come at the right time for us because we've had 6-7 years of this now.
Okay.
Arsenal are into their second year of this now.
All right.
Arteta, I reckon you got to give him at least another 2 to see if he can figure it out then. With us at 7 years of this, we've had our pinnacle of this. We are going to find a medium range, if Jurgen Klopp was to stay, of where we will come. We will never hit 99 points again. We will never do that. At the end of the day, as Rory said earlier, cycles have come. This is the right time for us to make the change and get in a new manager with new ideas who might attack the league in a different way. For Arsenal, I think there needs to be a little bit more time afforded to Arteta before you try and rush into that decision, because the worst thing you could do is rush into that decision and then it doesn't work out, and all of a sudden you've thrown away a manager who haven't won you a league, yes, but he was doing good things. He was getting you somewhere in the hope that you can win the league, and ultimately you're left off in a worse position. It's weighing up the risk and reward side of things. For us, it's the right time to move because Klopp's been here 9 years now. If he wanted to stay on, I would have happily had him stay on, but ultimately it feels all things like the right times for us to move on. For Arsenal, I don't think you're anywhere near that yet. I think there's still a lot of work to do with Arteta at the helm. I don't think they should be considering change yet.
All right.
I don't like the idea of change for change's sake. If you're saying, you should change him just because, that for me, that's you don't improve. If you're looking out there going, that manager is clearly better than Arteta, then fine. But if you're going, well, maybe they'll do a better job than Arteta at this point in time, I think that's like Tom said, I think you're risking that unnecessarily.
It's a risk, 100%. The new manager can come in and not be able to get the best out of these players, like what Arteta's doing. 100%. I'm not gonna doubt.
It's about margin for error. It's about margin. So Arteta has Arsenal, but they need to be there to win the title. Arteta probably has them there. If they take that gamble, they could either get to there or they could get to there.
Thank you.
Is that a gamble that's worth taking? That's what Arsenal have to weigh up. And it's not a gamble worth taking any time in the next 2 years, by the way. I'm on about in like 2027, 2028 type of times where you sit there and go, right, we've had 7 years of this. We're like there. Do we think now is where he makes that jump? Or are we going to go there if we try and change him? I think that's ultimately where
I really hope Arteta renews for another 5 years. So we'll see what happens.
Be interesting to watch.
It'll be interesting. To be honest, now you guys made it for me interesting to see if Pep Guardiola stay until 2030. What happens?
No, he needs to go. He needs to go manage Spain.
What happens to
He needs to go manage Italy.
What happens to English football?
Well, I do think you've got to...
I want to ask this question. What happens
we
to
become
English
the
football?
farmers. We become the farmers.
Farmers League.
We become the farmers.
By the way, you've got to look at Pep Guardiola and think, has he got nothing better to do with his life than keep winning the league?
Go manage Spain. Go manage in France or Italy or something.
There's no better club. There's no better club out there for Pep. We give him everything he wants. We give him an environment where he doesn't feel stressed, doesn't feel like he's getting overloaded.
Money.
That too, but at he loved it at Barcelona, but he couldn't deal with the stress because it's impossible to be the manager of Real Madrid and Barcelona, such as the level of pressure on you. It's not a City with basically it's like he thought he was going to get sacked after his first season with us, and then our owners were like, "Calm down, it's all right. We back you. Don't worry about it. Just tell us what you need. We'll sort it out." There's no club better for Pep. So yeah, he's staying here until 2050. We're gonna win 26 further titles in a row. And it's going to be a great time.
You know why I'm saying that, guys? Because I actually don't.
Do another 1 or 2 years, Pep, and then go do one.
Bro, I don't see any club now. I don't see any club giving him what he's been offered. He's not
there's no club. There's no club better suited to him. No club.
Juventus used to be the club. The club now doesn't have any money because they were like, there's stuff happening at Juventus. Barcelona aren't taking him back, right? Because he can't back him. He's not going to Real Madrid because he's from Catalonia, right? He isn't going to go back to Bayern Munich. They are in disarray. He's not going to PSG.
National job.
That's the thing. He's not going to coach Spain. He's from Catalonia. He isn't going to coach the Spanish national team.
I think he wants to coach Brazil.
He might go.
Stop ruining my hopes and dreams of Pep Guardiola going.
I tried to search for this. I tried to search for this. Where is this guy gonna go? The only thing that is left for him is the Italian. Unless Inter get bought by some sheikhs or Saudi or whatever, and they back him, because at that time he will go to Italy and dominate and win the Champions League. Right? That's the only club now that is being offered to be for sale for the right money. Where is Pep Guardiola at 2027? How old is Pep Guardiola? Is he like 48 or something? Or
he's 53.
Or 49?
50-something.
53.
So why did he leave Manchester City in the next 2 years? Where is he going to go?
England?
I think the FA needs to do an MBA and void his contract and ban him from managing in this league again and make it competitive again.
He'll go manage England, win the World Cup and Euros, and then come back to City. Problem solved.
If he does that, fair play to him. But until he does that, I just think if he does that, that's 4 years. No, that's four. Well, okay, minimum 3 years. So we've got 3 years to win the title, and England win the Euros and the World Cup. I could see in the space of 3 years.
Pep wouldn't just manage both. You act like Pep wouldn't just do an FM and just decide, fuck it, I can do both and do both.
Yeah, he might just shadow manage City whilst actually managing England.
Boy.
But
there's not much managing that needs to be done of England. Let's be real. You turn up, you pick players, you manage them for 2 weeks, then you're done. He worked with half of the squad anyway, so he needs to do half the training.
He'd actually play Foden in the middle as well, like Southgate. Big win. There you go. It's a win-win-win.
Different sport.
I've not enjoyed the stream.
If he backs himself,
where the stream's gone. I've not enjoyed the direction of chat the stream's gone. I much prefer it when we're talking about the day Pep Guardiola goes and this league gets competitive integrity back.
If he really backs himself, he should go to a different sport. That's what I'd do. But
this is the funniest stream.
Mentality, isn't it? It's all about mentality.
I swear, this is the funniest stream I've done on this channel. Like, it's just fun. Like the way this conversation went to like Pep has to go is crazy. Well, anyway,
it does. All roads lead
for the
back
integrity
to
of the
Pep
sport. For the integrity and the history of the sport, Pep Guardiola needs to leave.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
can someone clip that, please?
Not just the Premier League. All of football will become a farmer sport. Pep Guardiola will win the Champions League every year. He'll win the Premier League every year. We'll be sitting there going, "Oh, can't wait for the Europa League final this year, boys." He's going to win the Europa League.
You guys know the only way he leaves, right?
The Champions League.
The only way he leaves, if they are found guilty and they have point deductions, he's going to leave.
He is staying. You know what? He's signing an even bigger extension if that happens, Mo. I can promise you that. There is no way. There is no way that Guardiola would see those if those charges came through. There's no way he would see that as anything other than an insult to his own achievements. And he would be desperate to right those perceived wrongs. If anything, he would actually extend.
I actually disagree with you. I think he's going to say that the owners lied to me.
What size of punishment would it take for Pep to leave?
Point deduction. Anything. He's going to say the owners left. Anyway.
He can survive a point deduction. I'm on about like...
No. It's not about survival. It's about tarnishing his legacy at a club that is found guilty. Anyway, I need to do the super chats and then go. Amr Abul Mali is saying Liverpool are still favorites for the title. Yes, in the fantasy world.
No,
in the fantasy world. It's literally in the fantasy
score.
World. In the anime.
We can't score and we can't defend.
Anime world on Space Toon on the satellite. Yes, Cartoon Network. Absolutely. Yes, Disneyland right here. Liverpool are still favourites after
to be favourites for the title. You need to score goals and defend. We can do neither at the minute. We leak goals like a motherfucker and can't score.
Ryan is saying if you knocked on Tom's head, it would echo. Such a fraud. Defense Szoboszlai by saying, let me finish the reading or you read it.
I'll read it because I need. He's nicked Kendall's quote. Kendall said that about him. Everyone takes the piss out of it, and now he just throws it at other people thinking it lands. Yes, I do defend Szoboszlai by saying that when you look at the job he does, i.e. being our only ball progressor, because Trent's not there, and we haven't played Robertson as much. Yes, he does get tired doing 50-yard sprints forwards and backwards with the ball. It does affect your game. Does it excuse it? No, but it explains it. There's a difference between an explanation and an excuse. And if you're saying we got worse when Salah came back, let's bear in mind his first game back, he got a goal and assist against Brentford and was man of the match. Everyone's going, "Oh, best player in the league's back." This is just what it is. Sometimes I have bad form. It's not Salah's fault that Nunes decided to miss everything and Diaz has decided to be Diaz and Klopp's decided to not play Gakpo and the defense has decided to be leaky. It's not all Salah's fault. Let's keep it real. And I guarantee it. Ryan will put in a super chat soon and go, "I can't wait for Salah to be sold this summer." And when he does, I'm going to grill him. I'm going to grill him.
AMT saying, you said Pep will buy better next season, but last summer he didn't know the players were not great.
Well, I don't agree the players haven't been great. Gvardiol's been brilliant. Doku was always going to need a year. The only question mark was getting rid of Gundogan and not properly replacing him. And that's going to be rectified.
I think people knew that this summer window wasn't exceptional by City. I mean, there was a lot of question marks about Kovacic. Is he going to, is he the right Gundogan replacement? Is he going to, stay injury-free? Mateus Nunes, for the amount of money that he paid, there was question marks about that. I don't necessarily think he had the greatest of seasons last season for Wolves, so to spend that much money. Doku, again, like you said, he was seen as a very raw ringer. Gvardiol was the only one who was dead set, and even I think he needed a little bit of time to get settled in. So I actually think that most people going into the season thought City had a bit of a weak window. I think most people said City actually went into the season slightly weaker than last season.
Indeed.
Barter 60 saying, Mo, the league has to try again next 5 years.
That's why Pep needs to go. He's ruining the competitive integrity of the sport we love.
Cooler is saying,
just like Fergie did
Arsenal and Liverpool fab panic. I don't know.
If Arsenal and Liverpool fans panic,
the players will panic. I think the players are already panicking.
And then the players shit the bed. So
my stadium's no longer loud enough to panic. My stadium's dead in terms of atmosphere wise.
Yeah, someone said that Anfield were absolutely horrendous.
It's been horrendous. It's been horrendous all year.
Cooler is coming back and saying Arsenal looked half-hearted in the summer. They should have brought in about 6 players for the lineup, like City in 2017, or sack Arteta, go big or go home. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, because we were FFP is a thing.
You couldn't,
we went head to head with City and got Declan Rice, who was the fundamental signing to that window. We also went and got Havertz, Timber, who obviously hasn't really played. The only way you can do what that guy is suggesting is if you do what Chelsea did in terms of overhauling a
sell, and then buy. Yeah.
And if you think that Chelsea went big,
Chelsea
went big or went home. Chelsea went big or went home, and they are currently at home.
How would Emery do with this Arsenal side? Simple question.
I don't think Emery would have built this Arsenal side.
No. If you give Emery this side right now, would you done better? Would you have done better?
No, because Emery likes certain types of players that I don't think this Arsenal team has.
Yeah, I agree.
And the way he plays doesn't suit certain Arsenal players.
The problem is, I also don't think Emery's style of play is consistent enough to win a league title against Man City. Emery will always drop points in games that he shouldn't do. I think in individual games, I think Emery can pick up 3 points against anyone, but he'll always drop points in games that he shouldn't. And again, against City, you can't do that over a 38-game season.
Let's bear in mind that Emery did draw with Sheffield United at home this season.
Okay.
He did.
Pep can retire at City for all he wants.
Yeah, end of the season. Good.
Anyway, listen, guys, just wanna ask you guys a favor. There's 500 of you here, and we need the likes to go up to 300. And also, I want you guys to go subscribe to these 3 magnificent guys. Rory Talks Football, daily content, 6:30 UK time, every single day, non-stop work. And Rory is on TikTok, Twitter, brilliant TikToks, very, very good, Rory. Nobbins, watch-alongs, match analysis, post games, player ratings, everything. He does everything about Manchester City and also the league. You got to go and subscribe to Nobbins. It's 1 click away in the description. I can't make it easier than this. It's just a 1 click. It takes you to the channel. You go subscribe, you come back, right? Or you open a new tab. It doesn't cost you a penny, but it helps the channel. And I promise you, you will enjoy their content. You will enjoy it. It's magnificent. And Tom Little just did a therapy show right before this. and sent his guys here. So please go and subscribe to all these guys. They're giving me their time. We enjoy a civil conversation on this channel. And I want to appreciate you three. Fantastic. I know that Nobbins didn't talk a lot this because of Man City doing their Man City thing and the other teams capitulated.
I didn't even have to talk about Liverpool today.
We'll see what happens on Wednesday, to be honest, because I think Wednesday is another big day for the sport. If Arsenal go out and Man City lose, I think that would be big. If Man City win,
Pep Guardiola going to lose.
The thing about it, if Man City win and Arsenal lose, I can say that Man City are in the Champions League final. Simple as that. And it depends who goes to the final. If it's Paris Saint-Germain or Barcelona, Man City won another Champions League. If it's Atletico Madrid, they might, right?
What if it's Inter, Mo? What if Inter make it?
Well, we can actually. If we sell Lukaku, which we did, if we play Man City again in the final this season, I believe we can win. I believe we can win. Listen, appreciate everybody that is here. Stay on this stream. It will take you to HUSAM therapy. HUSAM, absolute therapy, is going to give you, oh my God, this is going to be a hilarious show on HUSAM's show. And I appreciate everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to MHF, and we're out of here, people.